Hey there, REM-PCs. Welcome to Rules of Cool, where we interview very special guests, creators, gamers, designers, and world builders. I'm your host, Rem, and today we are going to meet the new CEO of Evil Beagle Games, now known as Mobius Worlds Publishing, Jennifer Shinefeld, and longtime game developer Bill Keys. And then stay tuned, because up next at 5 p.m. CST PDT is the series premiere of our actual play of Shadowrun's sixth world, Emerald Glitch. This week's giveaway is really special because we have two books to give away. Mobius Worlds has donated a copy of the PDF and the hard copy of the core rulebook for Prowlers and Paragons Ultimate Edition. Type hashtag REMPC in the chat right now for your free entry to win. For bonus entries, check out remalternus.com/nuyen and patreon.com/remalternus. Your support helps us pay our cast and crew, so we truly appreciate it. Now, time to get right into our conversation for this week, so stay tuned, REMPCs. Welcome back, everyone. I'm here today with two very special guests, Jennifer Shinefeld and Bill Keys from Mobius Worlds Publishing, LLC. So I'd like you both to introduce yourselves. Tell us a little about who you are. Let's start with Jennifer.
Hi, as mentioned, I'm Jennifer Shinefeld. I am the CEO of Mobius Worlds Publishing. I was, in fact, the CEO of Evil Beagle Games as well. There was that transition and it was lovely and it was fine and everybody's happy about it. Before that, so let's see, very long time gamer, but I didn't get into the publishing side of things until more recently. I do have a background in English and in editing and that sort of thing, but actually moving over to the leadership role, I think I got a lot of experience from that by being a teacher for 30 years.
Cool.
So, and let's face it, sometimes game designers are like toddlers and you just kind of have to herd them. So that helps.
I have no comment about working with creatives whatsoever. Awesome. Well, thank you for being here, Jennifer. Bill, it's good to see you again. Tell us a little bit about you.
Nice to see you too. I am one of those creative toddlers that Jen was mentioning. I've been writing in the game design world since about 2008. I've been publishing things for Evil Beagle and now for Mobius Worlds, including Blood and Justice, which is my pride and joy. It's a superhero world of sort of a dark and gritty superhero world that harkens back to the comic books of the 90s. And I've done a ton of other stuff as well. I also work as the layout designer for Mobius and for other companies as well.
Oh, layout. I'm going to have you're going to have to send me an email.
I will.
Awesome. So I want to hear a little bit about your history as just gamers. Before you really got into publishing, what made you fall in love? How long have you been doing it? Favorite system, that whole thing. So Jennifer, let's come back to you.
December 27th, 1994 was my first game.
Wow.
And it was second edition. It was one of my best friend's birthdays, and they had been gaming for a while, and they said, "No, you got to do it." No, I'm not one of those nerds with that. No, I'm not doing that. They finally the way they talked me into it, because I've always been in theater, it's just acting. It's live, it's extemporaneous collaborative storytelling. And that's what got me hooked, was thinking of it from that direction in that space. And it was second edition D&D. F that co. I really love parlor LARPing. And other, just pretty much any LARPing. I love to be up and interactive as much as possible. But other games as well. I really do. I like Fate, actually. I do have some sort of partiality to Prowlers and Paragons. No idea why. It's weird. Lot of experience with Savage Worlds and with Vampire as well. So that's my background in gaming. There you go.
Awesome. Same though, theater person, and I told myself I would never watch Star Trek or play D&D, and yet
here we are.
We're liars. It's fine.
Oh, I also helped to run at the time the biggest vampire LARP in Denver back in right around Y2K.
Cool.
So I did a lot of background stuff, a lot of writing NPCs, a lot of narrative stuff on that end. So awesome. I did that as well.
That's really cool. Man, a vampire LARP. I would love that. And Bill, how about you? What's your come to Jesus moment in terms of gaming?
I started gaming back in about 1980, so that'll tell you how old I am. With the first edition advanced D&D, some friends of mine in school had gotten into it, and they were trying to explain it to me, and it made no sense to me whatsoever what they tried to explain. So they took me back to their house, and we made up some characters, and we started playing. And from then on, I was hooked. So
basically, Stranger Things,
the gateway drug for me.
Awesome. Oh, that's cool. And then from there, so you got into D&D first, and then what happened from there? We've got a couple decades to cover here.
Oh, yeah. I discovered Champions, the role-playing game, superhero role-playing in the early 80s. And it was so different from anything else I had seen before, because you didn't roll your stats or anything. Like you designed the character that you wanted to play based on points. And it was eye-opening. It was a complete paradigm shift for me. So Champions is one of the games that I still love today, even, 40 years, close to 40 years later.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And I've played everything else. I mean, just about everything. I was really into Cyberpunk in the 90s and Shadowrun as well. Anything to have to do with the near future stuff. I loved it. I never really got super into Vampire because there's nobody running it around me. So I was fascinated with the concept, with the idea, but never really got a chance to play it.
That's fair. Yeah, I've only gotten to play once, unfortunately. I would love to play it again. And I got real into Malkavian because I wanted to be Drusilla from Buffy. That was my whole my whole reason for that. Awesome.
That'd do it. Yeah.
So Jennifer, what milestones in your career led you to accept the position of CEO for Evil Beagle to become Mobius Worlds?
Honestly, I'm going to ask you to rephrase the question a smidge.
Sure.
Because I'm not sure how to go from there.
So what was your history like? What is your history as working in the gaming industry, or working as leadership and organization that led to you getting into this company?
Okay. Yeah, absolutely zero experience in the game industry. On the professional side of things, none whatsoever. But again, as a teacher, I'm actually internationally certified to teach classical ballet. So there's a lot of stuff on the back end that you have to do for the examination process, as well as how to be able to explain the same thing 6 different ways to people. How to get people to work on their own thing and yet at the same time work towards a common goal. So, and again, understanding that different people learn differently is, I mean, it's not something that you think about, but it's all those skills like that, that like the way when I chat with Bill about Blood and Justice, it's very different than the way I will approach a conversation, for example, with Michael Serbrook, who is one of our other creators, brilliant, but I have to speak to them in very different ways to get the correct communication exchange.
I give you a lot of credit for that. My experience in real world work was getting up to like a director of operations level, and so I totally
Mhm.
get what you mean by explaining things in
Yeah.
different ways. And someone who's, for example, more athletically inclined is going to think of things in a different way than someone who's very musically inclined.
Right.
And so I totally get that. And I also bravo to you and anyone that has quote unquote no experience. Like, this is a passion industry, and if you're excited to learn something, you can do it.
Yeah.
And that's something that we live by at REM too, where it's like, if you build websites during the day, you might not want to build websites in your free time. Like, you want to learn a new skill, or you want to get involved in a different way and build something up and maybe utilize some of that knowledge. But kudos to you for being in that position and living by that.
Yeah, I mean, when I accepted the position of CEO for Evil Beagle Games, it was to help someone else maintain their legacy because that business had been around for over a decade already.
Yeah.
Now that we're starting Mobius, I've actually shifted my focus a bit, even though I'm working with a lot of the same people, and because it's mine now. And so I don't have to worry about someone else's legacy, if that makes sense. I can
Yeah.
still honor that, but at the same time, now I have the opportunity to give a platform to voices that might not otherwise be heard so they can tell the stories they want to tell. And then on the other side of the table, I really want to have products where those different learners, those different personalities can all come and sit at the same table and find something that works for them.
That's fantastic. So let's talk a little bit about that. And Bill, like, you've got a lot of the backstory here, but what is Evil Beagle Games? So let's start maybe with Bill there, and then when and how and why did it transition to Mobius Worlds? So two-part question. Let's start with Bill.
Okay. Evil Beagle, I got involved in Evil Beagle a number of years ago, when the founder came to me and said, I really dig your writing style. I dig your creativity, and I want to work with you. And it was myself and Michael Serbrook and Lynn Pimentel, who are all part of the organization still, since transitioning over to Mobius. And together we were, I mean, in a lot of ways, we were just like four guys, each in our own living room or office, kind of writing our own thing. We would communicate with each other, but the worlds that I was creating weren't really connected with the stuff that Mike Serbrook or Lynn were creating. So I think with Mobius, we're going to start moving in a direction where we're all creating together.
Cool.
And building something together that's a little bit more cohesive, I guess would be the word.
So where, like you mentioned, Blood and Justice was your baby. Now it would be like an our baby situation for producing and designing.
I think that's what we're hoping to get to. Yeah. I mean,
Cool.
We're still like Jen says, we're still new. We're still kind of figuring some of the stuff out. But yeah, I think that's kind of what we're looking for, is that we're all going to have kind of a finger in the pie, so to speak.
Awesome. All right, so that leads to Jennifer then. So that's the story of Evil Beagle, how it came to be. Then Jennifer, you stepped in, and now we're Mobius. How and why and what?
The founder of Evil Beagle Games chose to kind of go into semi-retirement. and take a step back from being a presence, a personality, a figure in the game design world. He wanted to focus on his, as you said, everybody's got their real job and then their passion job. He became aware that this wasn't, because it was his job, it wasn't his passion anymore. And he missed that. So by stepping away, it gave him the opportunity to rediscover his passion for gaming by it not being his job anymore. So it was a really great move for his part. The reason that we switched over to a new company was like we said, before I was honoring his legacy, and I was really proud to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's a little bit more of, this is where I want to go. This is where I want to lead these people. We have people already so excited. Oh my God, I love Blood and Justice. Can I write something for this world and work with Bill to do it?
Cool.
So we're getting a lot of new blood in who are all really excited to put those fingers in those pies, to play in those worlds. So I'm really excited that this has opened up.
That's awesome. So why the name Mobius Worlds? Where'd that come from?
Honest answer, it came to me, like the actual logo came to me at 3:00 in the morning. When we were trying to figure out, okay, now what are we going to do? It, to me and to us, a Mobius strip is a lot like an infinity symbol, but it only has one side. And it reminds us that at the end of the day, no matter what part of the spectrum, no matter what part of the world, no matter what part of anything you are at, we're all in this together. And I really wanted that to be the focus of the company, was that inclusivity.
Awesome.
Was that sense of community.
Cool. I like that. I love finding like the meanings behind, because sometimes they're just cool words or word play or something like that, but somewhere it's important to someone. And I love that. So thank you.
Yeah, no, this was super deliberate. Yeah.
Cool.
So and because it's all different worlds. Oh, I beg your pardon. I'm so sorry.
Oh no, you're fine.
But because we've got the, Blood and Justice, but then we also have Pinnacle City, which can play in the same playground kind of, but they're very different. And then we've got a lot of other products, a lot of other settings that are totally different. So
that
I want people to be able to play.
The next question I was going to ask was, what games does Mobius Worlds develop? So you just led me right there.
How convenient.
Perfect.
So our 10 poles are absolutely Prowlers and Paragons as a system. And the setting of Freedom Squadron, ta-da! And also
I was ready for
Freedom Squadron, which is a setting for Savage Worlds.
Cool.
And we have an awesome relationship with Pinnacle, and I'm so excited that they've already agreed to continue our relationship. The relationship that they had with Evil Beagle, they're already super excited to continue forward with Mobius. That's awesome. That's really exciting for me. We are definitely going to have a lot of system neutral things coming out. So here's Michael Serberg, we call him the professor. Seriously, if you ever come out to Denver, go to a museum with the guy sometime. It's incredible. Just the knowledge, like we will walk through and the people who work there will start to follow him to learn new things. It's incredible. So he comes up with a lot of system neutral products of, hey, whether you're in D&D, whether you're in, whatever, the system is irrelevant. If you want to know how things work when you're underwater, if you want to know about like old ghost stories from Asia, if you want to, all that stuff like that, he's got a lot of system neutral products that are really helpful for GMs and for pretty much any storyteller.
Cool.
Bill, what else do we have on the docket right now?
We have the Cities of Wonder stuff.
That is true.
Also system neutral.
So what's that?
Cities of Wonder are essentially, I'm writing a series of, they can be cities or towns or, caravanserai or anything where people like live and work and play. And I go into a real deep dive into how the city works, who lives there, what their main exports and imports are. I get into a lot of detail. And again, these are system neutral, so you could use them in D&D or Pathfinder. I have one that was written for a cyberpunk world, so you could use it in Cyberpunk 2020 or Cyberpunk Red or Shadowrun. What else? And I wrote another one for a superhero world as well. So again, any kind of mutants and masterminds, champions, prowlers, and paragons, you could use it for any of those. What else are we doing? We've got some stuff coming up in the future. I don't know how much I'm allowed to talk about, though.
Oh, well, let's save it for I have that as a later question.
Okay.
And that way you can kind of sneakily maybe message each other of what you're allowed to not allowed to say. So Bill, I guess question for you, what for a new fan, so I'm a new fan of Mobius Worlds, what game or book should I start with?
If you want to become a fan of Mobius, I'd pick up Prowlers and Paragons Ultimate Edition. It's a superhero game. Yeah. It's a superhero game, and it's so simple to build characters, and it's so fast to play. What was the phrase that we came up with, Jennifer? Fast and super fast, super simple, super fun.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was actually Steve Peterson who came up with that. One of the original writers for Champions. Because of course all of the writers of Champions have also played Prowlers and Paragons, and they're like, ooh, yeah, we like this. We like what you have done with this.
Yep.
So that's easy to get into. So what is the world like, and what is the system like?
D6s.
D6s?
D6s, you like all of your stats, all of your traits, all of your everything is how many D6s you're going to roll.
We hate that here on Shadowrun channel.
Yeah.
You count the evens. Right. 2s and 4s count for 1 success. 6s count for 2 successes. If you got more than the other guy, you do the thing. And one thing that of course, theater person, that I specifically love is at that point, say, for example, I got 4 more successes than you did. I get narrative control.
Ooh.
I get to tell the story. I get to have my moment in the movie. This is what happened.
I like that. My moment in the movie. That's exactly a good phrase.
There's a reward system that is a very transmutable currency, like Benny's in Savage Worlds, that we call Resolve. And it's if words, there's like 5 things trying to come out of my face. If I need a reroll, I give the GM a resolve. If I want to add extra dice, I'll give him resolve. But then at the same token, if she says to me, "Oh, that was a really cool description," you get a resolve.
Cool.
So yeah, so it's a very fluid currency, which I love because again, it encourages narrative control by each of the people, so that's collaborative.
Yeah.
Awesome.
We're all stars in the movie.
I like that.
And we're all the heroes.
Yeah.
Because let's face it, the real world kind of sucks right now.
Yeah, yes.
No matter what side of anything you're on, it's tough. And for you to sit down at a table for 4 hours, whatever, with your friends, or even with total strangers at a con, it doesn't matter, and feel like a hero and have that feeling of success and satisfaction, this sounds so trite. It sounds so homework. I'm so sorry. But then you take that feeling of satisfaction and success and pride and feeling like you made a difference in something small. I mean, we all know, okay, I saved the purple city of whatever. It's not real, okay, whatever. But then you turn around and you're going to feel better the next interaction you have with that person at the grocery store and make their day better. We can't fix the real world, but we can make the world around us a little bit better. And I want our products to be a catalyst for that.
Cool.
Yeah.
I really like that, and the description of the rule set and stuff, and the simplicity of it, and the narrative style. So what's going on in the world that you're feeling like such a hero?
That's up to the story. If you're in a blood and justice setting, you're going to be more of a street level. Like I can't do a whole lot of stuff. I can't fly or anything, but I can go beat up bad guys. I can go, bust up this drug cartel.
Yep.
Or whatever. There's also a lot. Why am I talking about this? This is your thing. You talk about.
I was just going to say, if you watch the Daredevil series or the Punisher series or Jessica Jones on Netflix, that's kind of the world of Blood and Justice. That was kind of what I was shooting for, where you're not Iron Man, you're not Thor. You're not going to be able to destroy an entire alien fleet by yourself, but you can save one person. You can help a neighborhood out. You can clean up crime. And that's kind of the victory. It's a smaller victory, but it's also, I think, in a lot of ways, a more personal victory in some ways.
Yeah. I like that. That's really great. Yeah, sometimes when you save the world, it's hard to put faces to that, like, and say, like, did I make a difference, kind of thing. I mean, yes, and a big scale, but did I make a difference in someone's life? And when you can see the output of that, that's really cool.
Yeah.
Neat.
Mm-hmm.
All right. What are the new releases coming? Anything you can talk about?
A few. Bill's got Nocturne coming out for Blood and Justice.
Nocturne by Night.
Nocturne by Night. Which I will let him talk about after I talk about the next thing that's coming out, which is actually going to be, remember the old animes, like, of the 90s-ish, like Bubblegum Crisis and all those? There's a setting coming out called Kaze 5. And it was actually, I'm derping. It was released for Heroes, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Okay. It was originally released for Heroes. And so Michael Swarbrick is taking it and revamping it for Prowlers and Paragons.
Cool.
So it's going to be near future. So you kind of get that cyberpunky Shadowrunny feel. It's also got psionics. It's also got, fighting against the man. Oh, thank you so much, Bill. Other animes that you could relate to are Silent Mobius or Appleseed. So kind of like that. Yeah. So that's we want to go in a different direction from, we've done the Marvel thing. We've done the, now let's take it in a slightly different direction to show the diversity. We also have in the works right now taking the Prowlers and Paragons system and putting it into a steampunk setting.
Ooh.
And we've got another one that's kind of a Mad Max kind of setting.
Nice.
So we've got a lot of stuff that's kind of wandering around back there.
Cool.
But I would love for Bill to talk about Nocturne by Night a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, sure. Nocturne by Night is going to be the first big villains book for Blood and Justice. It's got something like 60 some odd villains in it, including 3 new villain teams. Well, I say villain teams, but 2 of them are they could go either way. They could be an enemy or they could be a friend. because of the way the world works. You know, your heroes are kind of gray, so sometimes the bad guys are kind of gray as well. Some of the villains are terrible, horrible. Just, man, I hate these guys so much. And some of them are, you know, this person could be me had things gone, you know, poorly in my life like they did for them. So it's a broad range of villains, ranging from the power of a god to just a couple of sort of street magicians like David Copperfield, who decided to take up a life of crime.
Oh, cool. I like that. Oh, how neat. I mean, villains
Yeah.
are always fun, but adding some of those real world twists are kind of neat. Cool. So is there a plan in terms of these releases? Or is which is coming first? When can we look for it? Is it coming to Kickstarter? Is it coming to your website?
So the bigger projects like Kaze 5 are going to be Kickstarters. We are currently shooting for fourth quarter for the Kickstarter on that one.
Cool.
There will be smaller releases in the meantime, and as a matter of fact, we're going to be launching, once we get our website up and running, we're also going to be launching a Patreon in which different levels, different tiers are going to get things like one shot, you know, like characters, like perhaps you might get one of those villains at a Nocturne by Night as a preview.
Ooh.
Yeah, or you could get you know how they have those one-page games, like the Trash Panda Race one?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
we have a couple of those for the Patreon levels as well. So we're going to have a lot of little stuff coming out through that,
Cool.
and also just smaller PDFs that are coming out as well. Like Bill already has several adventures that are up for his site for Blood and Justice. So if there'll be stuff like that, there's little stuff interspersed in between the big stuff.
Neat. Awesome. All right. So all of this is happening. Is there going to be a Mobius Worlds presence at Gen Con this year?
Not this year. We're still trying to get our feet up under us. And when we do show up, I don't want someone to come to us and say, there's all this stuff, and me say, I'm not there yet. I
Fair.
really want to get things organized. I want to do it right as much as I can. Obviously, I'm going to make a lot of mistakes, and I own that. But I want to get this as solid as I can. So I'm hoping that maybe next year we'll be able to attend.
Awesome. Great. Well, I look forward to it and seeing you there.
Well, hey, it would be awesome. I'm so excited about it.
Awesome. So story time, gaming stories. What is your favorite gaming story related to a Mobius Worlds game? So like time you were playing Prowlers and Paragons and someone said something funny or did something super cool, or maybe you did the cool thing. What's your story?
That's tough.
Give you a moment to think while they are thinking. Don't forget that you can type #RemPC in the chat right now to win your very own copy of either a PDF or the hardcover. We have 2 giveaways tonight for Prowlers and Paragons Ultimate Edition core rulebook. So see, I'm stalling for you guys.
Bill, do you have one?
If
Because
you're
I
still
have,
thinking,
like-
Jen, I can
Go
go
ahead.
first.
All right. The problem is I have like 7, so
Well, we've got like 15 to 20 minutes left.
we can just go back and forth. It'll be fine.
Yeah. If you're still thinking, Jen, I can do one.
Go ahead.
Okay. When we were still playtesting Prowlers and Paragons, we had an entire campaign that we ran for almost, I want to say, the better part of a year. And I was playing a character named Rumblebee, who was a sort of a Spider-Man knockoff in some ways, except with not spider powers, but bee powers. And we were fighting to defend the universe against this group of ancient gods who wanted to just kind of fold the whole thing up and throw it away. and my character stood up and made this great speech about how sentient peoples of the universe should be free to make their own choices, and you don't have the right to take that away from us. And I just extemporized for like 3 minutes doing this speech, and at the end of it, the whole table was just blown off their feet. They were all clapping for me and so excited. And
neat.
And yeah, we saved the universe, which was great.
I feel like that needs to be immortalized in a fiction piece.
That is something that people are talking about, but I'm not ready. I'm like, I don't have the spoons yet for that, guys. Gotta give me a minute.
Fair. I talk a lot about if I'm out of spell slots, can't take it right now, maybe later.
Exactly.
Awesome. Jennifer, do you have one? Or
I
seven?
do. Like I said, I was trying to pick. I will say there was a setting during playtesting that was known as Unending War. And the concept was that World War I never really ended.
Ooh.
And it just kind of rolled into just continuing into the whole drama of World War II. And so there was a lot of military politics going on. And the Emperor of Japan and his daughter were both supervillains. They had superpowers. And they were trying to come around into like the Pacific Northwest to invade, and we had to figure out how to stop them. We went over to Japan, and I was more of a Blood and Justice kind of character. I was the daughter of a mafioso, and so that was my secret identity. I have to go back and be like a socialite and everything during the day. Shh. But at night, I had some psionics, and I also had some emotion control. And so here we are in front of the Emperor of Japan, and he's turned into this ginormous bajillion foot, terrifying, kaiju that was emperor shaped. And I used emotion control on him, and of course I did. I role played out with the GM using emotion control to convince him to shift his emotions such a way that he decided it was no longer in his best interest and in the best interest of his country to invade, and that he needed to call the whole thing off.
Neato.
Yeah.
Making a difference. Now,
Exactly.
we need you to do that. Head on over to Russia. That'd be
That'd
great.
be super. It takes 3 rounds for build-up for me. I took that con. So it took 3 rounds. Yeah. It got to the point where I would say to the GM, I'd say, this is round 1. And he'd be like, oh, God. I know what you're going to
do. Excellent. Well, since we have the time, I was trying to think what would I answer if someone asked me? And of course, I'm going to refer it to Shadowrun.
Yeah.
But one of the first moments that I think stuck out for me, thank you for the kisses, I really appreciate it, is we were trying to get through a stop into the CZ in Chicago, into the containment zone. And are you going to have to bribe someone? Are you going to have to sneak in? Like what's the deal going to be? And so the GM, who's a real good friend of mine, and we mess with each other a lot, but he said we're sitting in the front of a semi truck basically. And so I'm squeezed in the middle between 2 guy runners, and the guy leans in the window over the first one, is like, I'll let you through. How about just for a kiss? And I was like, yeah, sure. Hey, give him a kiss. To the guy next to me. So that was
So
like
yeah, but what actually happened in the game? Because that totally sounds like something from real life.
What happened in the game? No, in real life, thankfully, no. I've been very lucky. I was thinking a lot about, talking about diversity and in the gaming industry, being a good person and stuff like that. And when we're young, we're all terrible people because we don't know better. But when I was growing up, I used to think anti-woman humor was really funny because I was like, clearly nobody thinks like that. Like, that's what makes it funny. And then as I got older, I'm like, oh, that's not funny. Yeah. So luckily I was happily naive enough for quite a bit to get away with that. But then real life hit.
More importantly, though, you were open enough to be able to shift your perspective.
Yeah. There's people that are, and there's people that aren't. And some of it is just being okay with being wrong. Like you said, like, I will own it. I'm going to make mistakes, and I'm not afraid to apologize if I don't understand, or if I make a mistake and need new perspective. So I appreciate people that are like-minded in that way.
Absolutely. I am a big fan, a huge advocate of always leading from the front. I'm not going to ask someone to do something that I wouldn't be comfortable with, like ethically or, from that perspective.
Right.
Obviously, I can't do layout, so I'm going to ask Bill to do layout, even though I can't do it. So that's not what I mean.
I get ya.
Yeah.
Well, cool. So really enjoy talking with you guys. Really enjoy what you're doing with Mobius Worlds and the stance that you're taking and getting it diverse creators together and putting out a product that you guys clearly love. So where can we follow you to find more, both personally and for Mobius Worlds?
Like I said, we're trying to stand up the website, but it's not quite there yet. But when we do, it will be mobiusworldspublishing.com. You can look up Mobius Worlds Publishing on Facebook, on Twitter, on, pretty much all social media platforms, and you can find us. Absolutely. And honestly, just reach out on any one of those. And if you have a question for me or Belle or one of the other creators, send a message and we would be happy to respond.
Great. Bill, any different answer from you?
He's like, don't talk to me.
Don't at me.
You can find me on Facebook as Matthew Keys, or you can also look up To Evil Bunny. And on Twitter, I am also To Evil Bunny.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much for joining in and chatting with me, and can't wait to play a game in the future, collaborate, and get to know you guys even better. So thank you so much.
Absolutely. Rem, thank you so much for inviting us.
Of course.
It was absolutely a delight. And this could not have been a better experience for us. So thank you so much for doing this.
Oh, thank you. That means the world. Thank you so much. And we'll be right back, folks. Yeah. Up next on Shadowrun, Sixth World Emerald Glitch and the Case of the Floating Conciliaire. Don't forget that we have a wonderful giveaway of Prowlers and Paragon's core rulebook for the Ultimate Edition, generously donated by Jennifer and Bill and Mobius Worlds Publishing. Enter to win by typing #RemPC in the chat, and you can get additional entries to win by going to our donation page at www.remalternus.com/Nguyen. All donations help us to pay our cast and crew and keep producing content. And our biggest donors can have a message read at the end of the episode by the Shadowrunner of their choice. So check it out. Please don't make me read puns. And of course, we have more shows like Shadowrun Emerald Glitch on our Twitch channel. We stream 5 to 6 days a week over on twitch.tv/Master of Rem, including the Dresden Files RPG, Shadowrun 5th Edition, and tons more. Check us out and give us a follow. Thank you all for joining, and we'll see you next time, where we will talk with Russell Zimmerman, one of the leading Shadowrun fiction writers, as we talk about his career, stories, and more. See you next time, REM PCs.